All right, here we go. Freeway, welcome back to Vlad TV.
It's been a minute, man. It's been a minute, bro.
Hey, you're one of like the OG Vlad TV guests that was doing interviews with me when I had a DVD. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Before Vlad TV actually launched in 2008. We've been doing interviews since like 2006, maybe?
Yeah, we definitely go back, man. Yeah, I'm loving the elevation.
Thank you, man. That means a lot coming from someone like yourself.
Yeah.
It means a lot. Well, I want to go into your whole story this time, you know, because we've done a lot of interviews, but I want to put it all together. But before I do, first of all, I have to say that Philly's going to the Super Bowl.
Oh, most definitely. You already know. We carrying it like the Carriers carry it. And we're excited. Like the energy in the city is amazing, man, you know, and we happy, we excited.
Oh yeah, man. Like, how does it feel to have your city, you know, the city that you put on your back, make it to the Super Bowl like this?
Oh man, it's an amazing feeling. It's an amazing feeling, man. And like, you know, I feel like it runs parallel to what I'm going through. Like, you know, they work hard. They bust their ass and work hard to get to that point. And, you know, that's how I feel my career is going at the same time. So it's a great feeling, man. It feels great.
Okay. And as one of the Philly OGs, what's the theme song of Philly right now? Is it Lil Uzi Vert, I Just Want to Rock?
Yeah, it's definitely right now at the moment. It's definitely Lil Uzi, I Want to Rock. I Just Want to Rock. Hands down. Like, you know, we gonna hear the classics like What We Do, like My Joan. We definitely gonna hear Meek Joan, the classics. But you know, as far as right now, what got it on lock, Lil Uzi got it.
Oh yeah. Now look, Dreams and Nightmare intro by Meek Mill.
Most
it's definitely a classic, you know, a decade deep.
10 years strong. 10 years strong.
Yeah, but right now people going crazy over Lil Uzi Vert, who you've actually done music with yourself.
Yeah, for sure. We go back. You know, that's my bro.
Yeah. Okay, so now that we got that out the way, I want to get into your whole story. Because like I said, we've done a lot of interviews, but we've never really put it all together in the way that we do it these days. So let's start in the very beginning. So you grew up in North Philly.
I'm originally from West Philly, and I moved to North Philly with my cousins around high school. You know, I went to Kensington High School down North Philly with my cousins.
Okay, what was Philly like in the 80s?
Well, that was the 80s.
The late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, late 80s, early 90s. It was just like a hustle city. Like, you know, similar to how it is now, like everybody smashing and scraping to get it, you know, everybody grinding. As far as the musical scene, it was just real dope though, because it was a lot of talented MCs and everybody brought something different to the table. Like you might meet some people from uptown that got a whole different flavor from somebody from North. You might meet somebody from South Philly that's on a whole nother wave than everybody else. And when we would come together, it would be so crazy. I feel like that's one of the reasons why I'm such a dope artist to this day, because I grew up around a lot of dope artists that brought something different to the table.
Well, you yourself, did you grow up in a Muslim household?
No, actually, my mom was Christian and my dad was in this thing called the Nation of Akibalan, which was like an African religion. And, you know, they was vegetarians, they didn't eat meat. And, you know, that was when I was younger. And by the time I was old enough to understand religion myself, I chose Islam because it made sense to me. And probably about 20 years ago, I took my dad to take his Shahada too, and he became Muslim.
Okay. And one of the questions that actually was brought up by one of my Vlad TV YouTube members, Hakeem Butler, he brought up that, you know, in a strict Islam, you know, religion, you're not actually allowed to do music with vocals. Is that right?
Yeah, you know, it's a difference of opinion, but you know, the majority say that music is haram. You're supposed to stay away from it, and it's a few reasons. Like the time that you're taking to create the music, you could be doing something to better yourself as far as the religion, like studying, reading Quran, and the time that the people are taking to listen to your music, they could be doing something to better themselves also. So, you know, I definitely understand where they're coming from. But it's a difference of opinion.
I actually looked it up. It says what's allowed is vocals, but not instruments. Vocals, but only if the audience is of the same gender. Vocals and drums, or vocals and traditional one-sided drum and tambourine, but no other instruments. Any kind of music provided that is not passionate, sexually suggestive, or has lyrics in violation of Islam.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you yourself don't exactly follow that.
Yeah, you know, it's something that I struggle with. You know, it's definitely a struggle for me. And the crazy thing about it is the whole time I was trying to be a rapper and I was growing up, I didn't really hear that until I was on and until I was already knee deep into it, And in my music, I try my best to give people something, when I create the music, something that they could benefit from.
Yeah, my man Napoleon from the Outlaws, who became a very strict Muslim, which you know about him, right?
Yeah, that's my brother, most definitely.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, you guys know each other. Yeah, that's my man as well. To the point where he actually went full Muslim, moved to Saudi Arabia, started his family out there.
And that's the best thing for us. And I commend the brother and I take my hat off to him because, being in a lifestyle and, and being in music and, just to be able to go cold turkey like that is commendable. And I take my hat off to him.
Yeah, I mean, he stopped rapping, stopped doing music, and even his documentary, he couldn't actually put music behind the documentary. He had to have just like some people singing and, what I mean? Just very kind of subtle type of thing. So, yeah, it was always interesting because, the whole time I've known you, you've always been very Muslim and very strict, in your approach. So, yeah, that's why I brought the question up. Okay, so growing up in Philly as a teenager, were you getting in trouble or were you a relatively good kid?
I mean, when I was in my early teens, that's when I started getting into the streets and selling drugs and stuff like that. And I caught a case for possession with attempt to deliver. But when I was younger, when I was in school, probably second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, I was just a regular student, that did what I was supposed to do.
Okay, what made you get into the streets and start messing around with that?
I mean, just the fact that my parents didn't really have much, and it's things that I seen people with that I wanted, and then I seen a way to get it, and, I chose to take that path.
Okay. When you got arrested, how much time did you get?
I had to do 6 months, and then it was my first offense, so I got put into a program where I went to a treatment center, and I had to be in there for 90 days, then I was on house arrest for another 6 months.
Okay. Was that pretty much the end of that,
Yeah, I was on probation for 5 years after that, and then when I was in jail and people told me when to eat and when to sleep and all that, I was like, no, I can't live like this. I'm not gonna put myself in a position to get me back here, and that's what I did.
Yeah, I remember when I interviewed Papoose, he told me about the time that he went to Rikers, and when he got there, he realized that the only thing lower than where he was death.
Yeah.
And that made him just look at everything differently. And after that, he said, okay, I'm never doing this again.
Yeah, most definitely.
Okay, so how old were you when you actually started rapping?
Oh, man, when I started rapping, I probably was 5 or 6. I always wanted to be a rapper. When I was little, they used to pay me quarters and 50 cents to do the Michael Jackson dance and all that stuff. I was really always into music. And when I was in early school, I would be into poetry and my music teachers, and they all used to love me.
Okay. And when did you actually take the Freeway name?
After I read the Freeway story. And, I was I wasn't nowhere near as big as Freeway was, but we was living similar lifestyles. So I'm like, damn, this would be a dope rap name. And that's when I took it on.
And that's interesting because Freeway Ricky's a regular guest on Vlad TV these days.
Yeah, that's my bro too. We real tight.
Yeah, and how did you even know about him? Because Freeway was a West Coast guy and you're on the East Coast.
No, I read the story. I actually read the story. It was in a magazine. And I read his story, then I did a little research on it. I'm like, damn, and I was with my old head. He yo, that'd be a dope rap name. I'm like, yeah, that's my rap name.
Okay, and you guys actually ended up meeting up later in life.
Yeah, yeah. Mm.
Okay, and he was cool with it.
Yeah. When he was in jail, I reached out to him. Wrote him a letter. Let him know, how I was carrying it. Made sure it was cool with him before I even started going crazy with it. And he respected it. When he came home, we got together, and it was all love.
That's dope. That's dope. Okay, so you're rapping, but you're not really taking it seriously early on in terms of really trying to go after the major labels or anything else like that. And
I always took it serious. I always wanted to be a rapper.
I meant in high school and so
yeah,
forth.
when in grade school, when they ask you what you want to be when you grow up, I was I want to be a rapper and I want to be an airline pilot. Those are the two things that I wanted to be. And now I'm a rapper. I fly just as much as an airline pilot. So, I like killed
Okay,
two birds with one stone.
dope. So, how old were you when you actually met Beanie Sigel?
Probably like 19 or 20. We was in a club. It was a club called Dances, and like the teenagers would go there, and it would be like a lot of rap battles. It was like a lot of legendary rap battles. I think like Cameron battled Tommy Hill in that joint one time, and I was in there, and like Cam came through and murdered him. And then it was like local people always battling. So I was in a club, and Mac was on stage, and he was battling like a couple people. They was like teaming up on him. So I was in the crowd like, yo, pull me up, pull me up. So he pulled me up, and he thought I was trying to battle him too, but I stood on the side of him, and then I started going at the people that he was battling. And, we just built a rapport from there.
Okay. And how long after that did he actually link up with Rockefeller?
It seemed quick. It probably like a couple months, if not quicker than that. It like happened fast.
Okay, so then he links up with JayZ.
Mm-hmm.
And was he the first one that gets signed out of Philly?
Yeah, definitely. As far as us, yeah, he was the first one to sign a Roc for sure. And then I know they was going like sign Major Figures, and that didn't work out. And then, that's when they started trying to put State Property together. They had the Young Guns. Shout out to Young Chrissy in the building with me back there. They had the Young Guns, Owen Sparks, and then me, and then Petey came along later.
Okay, and your first song was 1-900 Hustler.
Yeah, that was the first official song that was out.
Right, with Beanie Sigel, JayZ, and Memphis Bleek.
The first thing people really heard me on was a record called Coming For You. It was on like a DJ Clue mixtape with me and Beans. Like 1, 2, Sigel coming for you. That's like the first time people actually heard me. And then the first time on Wax was on the Dynasty album on 1-900 Hustler.
Okay. So when they put that song together, was everyone in the studio at the same time?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Especially when I think it was like they gave, like I was in there and they was like working on it, and then I got the beat, and then I came back and laid it. And then everybody was in there. Then I remember Jay had the chick that used to do the violin back in the day. He had her actually in the studio, and he was like, this is your intro to the world. I'm going to set you up. It's going to be perfect. And then that's when the chick came with the elevator music, then first things first, and the rest is history.
Well, here you are in the studio with JayZ. And you're not even signed at this point, right?
No, I don't think I was signed yet.
Yeah. So you're just a hungry kid out of Philly in the studio with JayZ on Rockefeller, distributed by Def Jam.
Mm-hmm.
How nervous were you?
And I just got,
together?
not to mention, remember I was just on house arrest, and I was talking to Beans. He like, when you get off house arrest, you won't be up here with me. And then right off house arrest, I was just straight there. Like, I be telling people, like in Philadelphia, they doing this thing, and not only in Philadelphia, but like all over the United States, it's something called re-entry program. When people come home from prison and then they have something that they can get into that can help them better their life. Like maybe it's like carpentry, or maybe it's like some kind of skill set or a trade as their re-entry program, something that they're interested in. I feel like Beanie Sigel and Rockefeller was my re-entry program. Because as soon as I came home, that's what I did. Like, you know what I'm saying? And before that, I was in the streets. Like, so I probably wouldn't have had no choice but to go back to what I was doing prior to that if I didn't have that option.
I mean, when you heard that whole song with everyone's verses on there, what did you think?
I was like, yo, it's crazy. Like, everybody was excited about it. And I'm like, yo, this is it. Like, this is my opportunity. I remember we did a show. Beans and Bleak had a show. And it was in a club. I think the club was called Pegasus. It was like on 48th and Chestnut back in the day. And it was a real popular club. And Beans and Bleak did their show, and it was like over. Everybody was getting ready to leave. And my man, Cousin E, was like, yo, take the mic and do your verse from 1-900 Hustler. This one, like back in the day, nobody knew what you looked like because it wasn't Instagram or social media. So he gave me the mic, and I went to the front of the stage a cappella, and I was like, first things first, watch what you say out your mouth. Then the whole crowd was like, when you talking on the phone, a hustler. That's when I knew it was on. I was like, oh shit, like, it's on. Like, then after that, I started doing shows.
I mean, when you look at those lyrics, watch your mouth when you're talking over the phone. When you look at, for example, like the YSL Rico case, which is literally has hundreds of
Yo,
hours
you
of people
funny,
talking
dog.
on the phone. It's almost like you predicted it. You know what I mean? Like you gave the warning early on and not everyone listened to it.
I mean, I didn't predict anything. I just was, speaking my truth and what I was going through at the time. And a lot of people fall victim to that. A lot of people make those kind of mistakes because we're human, so.
Yeah. Well, after the 1-900 Hustler, was that when you signed your deal?
Yeah, it was, I don't remember the exact time, but I'm pretty sure like before the album came out, I was signed. Before it was a period of time where I was just sitting around because I was just around working and grinding, and I wasn't signed. And it was like other people like trying to reach out to sign me, and Damon, I was like, oh shit, we ain't signed him, and then they made the deal happen. But I'm loyal and I was there, so they they already knew what it was, but we just didn't get the actual deal done yet.
I mean, how did that feel to sign a major label deal? To Rockefeller, which was on fire, and Def Jam.
I mean, at the time, I probably really couldn't even comprehend it. It just was like a dream come true. Like I told you, it was something I wanted to do since I was a little kid, and to be able to do it at that level was just a blessing. Like I just felt blessed, because everybody I know wanted to be a rapper. Everybody, the whole hood. After I got on, everybody started trying to be rappers, killers, like niggas you wouldn't even ever think would rap. When I first, like back in the day, it wasn't even cool to rap. Like from Philly, like everybody was just trying to get money. Like ain't nobody was trying to hear nobody trying to be a rapper or trying to rap. But when they started seeing us make it happen, then that's when like everybody and their grandma was trying to rap.
Well, a lot of times an artist's first deal is not the best deal. You see, and sometimes it's a fair deal, but you're still young, so it doesn't come the way you expect it to come. I mean, now that you're older, when you look back at that first Rockefeller deal, do you think the deal was fair, or do you think you could have done better with that deal?
At the time, me being fresh off the streets and like, nobody knowing who I am, I think the deal was fair. I think I got like 375,000. Then I had like $1 million for the recording budget. So, I think it was fair at the time. And, they established me as a household name. So I definitely didn't have any complaints.
When we got that first check, what'd you spend it on?
I didn't spend it right away. Like, because I was already, making a little bit of money. I think the first thing I bought was a Cadillac.
Okay. Like Escalade?
No, it was back in the day, bro. Like it's
yeah, right. Escalades weren't out yet. My bad.
Yeah,
You're right. The Escalade wasn't out.
It was like
yet. Okay.
I forget what kind of Cadillac it was, but it was on point for the time.
Okay. Did it take you a while to really learn, how to utilize money? Because a lot of times it takes a while, and I blew a lot of money, early on.
Most definitely, especially being from the streets. Like, I always knew to save, but being from the streets, when you got money coming in fast, you spend it, just as fast as it comes in, So it definitely took me a minute to, get it together. And, we did have good mentors. Like Dane would always tell us, yo, make sure you do your taxes. Like, make sure you do this and you do that. So, they was giving us the game. It was just up to us to listen.
Well, how long were you at Rockefeller when the whole thing with the locks started to kind of pop off?
I was there the whole time.
Well, no, but I'm saying like you had been there for what, maybe like a year or so, or?
Yeah, probably like a year or two. Yep. So, like when did the beef with the locks? When was that? 2001, 2002?
2001, yeah.
Yeah, I've been there since like the beginning of early 2000. So, probably like a year.
Okay, now I've interviewed a lot of people around this, and I'm still trying to figure out how exactly this whole thing started. Like, from what I read recently, I guess Jadakiss did an interview where he said that he runs Philly, and Beanie responded to that.
I don't know nothing about that.
Okay,
from what I remember, it was just like little shots going back and forth. Like Kiss was saying little stuff, and then I think Max said something back or something. It was just like little friendly, little shots going at each other.
Right. Well, Jadakiss had the song "Uh-huh,"
Mm-hmm.
And, he had that
And
one
like
line,
old
had to
nigga,
stop
new
eating red
nigga,
meat.
like all the old nigga, new nigga, all that type of stuff.
Yeah, it said I had to stop eating red meat because I ate too many Beanie Macs.
Yeah. When we heard that, we knew that it was that's what it was.
Right. And then the back and forth started. Beanie had a song called Fuck Jada. And then Jada had a song called Fuck Beanie. And then he took a shot at you on Fuck Beanie, where he said, you can take your baby gorilla with you. He dying for free.
Yeah. I remember when I first heard that, I was like, wow. I was like, that's what I'm talking about. Let's get it. And that, that was a chess move, because potentially if it would have went the right way, he would have got Mac out of there and me out of there at the same time. Like, that was a brilliant chess move. But I flipped it and I said, it's F to the Izar, E to the Wizzy, baby gorilla pillar, banana clip from the Kizzy. Strategize.
I mean, Jadakiss is no slouch.
No,
you're not going against a mumble rapper here.
Even before, before the beef and everything, like, I just dropped a record called Rejoice, and I said, came home from prison, ooh, scoop me playing Jadakiss and Styles and Chic. Now I'm on my feet, I often reminisce on how I had to lean on him to eat a dish. Now I'll gift him half my fortune if I needed it. When I came home from jail, I'll never forget, my man picked me up and he was playing We Are the Streets. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy. This is what we going through right now. Like, this is the shit. Like, so I always, looked up to Kiss, Styles, and Chic and always had a lot of love for him. But, when it came time I'm riding with the team regardless.
Well, you had the song called Y'all Get Out.
Yeah.
Okay, and I mean, the first part of the song was a Nas diss, and then the second part was the Jadakiss diss. Now, this was a time that Jay and Nas were going at it. This was during like the whole Ether, takeover era. I mean, did it?
I love Nas. I love Nas. I gotta just let y'all know that. Just to mention that I love Nas. Now, go ahead.
We all love Nas.
That was painful for me, like, because when I was a young boy, they used to call me the Philly Nas. I had a song and I had his hook. They love to hear the story how the thugs live and worry. Ducking down the car seats, heat is mandatory. They love to hear the story how the thugs live and worry. Ducking down the car seats, ducking down the car. Like, I love Nas, but like I said, when it come time for ride for the team, I'm riding for the team.
Right, but the Nas and JayZ beef really had nothing to do with you at the time. It's not like Nas was taking shots at you on Ether or anything else like that. So you didn't have to do that, but you decided to jump into that.
Yeah, of course. Like, at that time, we in the middle of it. And, it's time to show and prove. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm letting people know what it is. I'm riding for the team.
Did you and Nas ever...
You got a problem with Big Homie, you got a problem with all of us.
Yeah. Did you and Nas ever bump into each other later on?
Yeah, man, I love Nas, man. The crazy thing is, I'm finishing this project called the Stimulus Package 2, and I was just out Seattle. I put out Stimulus Package 1 with me and Jake 1 in 2010. Now we about to put out part 2 this year. And we was recording, we was in the middle of the session, and I looked down at my phone and Nas followed me back on Instagram. And I'm like, oh shit. Then everybody in the studio like, what's wrong? What happened? Like, they thought something happened. I'm like, Nas just followed me back on Instagram. I went crazy because I had a lot of love for Nas. So they was shooting the Rock Boys video. Just when the beef is over, Jay and all them, they cool and everything. So I shot my part, then I had to leave because I had a show that night and Nas was leaving out at the same time. So when we got outside, I was like, look, Nas, I know I dissed you, but I love your shit. Like, I used to listen to your shit when I was a young boy. I love your shit. He's like, Free, I love your shit too. I ain't even gonna front. I'll be listening to you too. And he gave me a hug. I gave him a hug. And then he got in Jay Maybach. He got in the wrong Maybach. Then he's like, oh shit, this ain't my Maybach. And then got in his Maybach. That's like super rich nigga problems, but I was happy we had that moment and I got to tell him how I really felt. Like, that was major for me.
Dope. Well, I mean, the back and forth, between Rockefeller and the Locks started to kind of heat up. There was a Powerhouse show in Philly.
Yeah.
Were you there?
I got there a little late, but I was there, yeah.
Okay, and then that was when people started basically talking their shit on stage.
Yeah.
I mean, was there a little bit of worry that things might escalate? Because now you guys are all around each other as this is happening?
I mean, it was always like we was always prepared for it to escalate. Like, you know, at the moment, like you gotta think we fresh off the streets, still in the streets. Like, you know what I'm saying? So everything that we said we meant, and we was carrying it like that everywhere we went. Like, you know.
I mean, were there any altercations along the way, like bumping into each other or something?
It was by the time we started bumping into each other, things was like calmed down. Like I remember one time I was in LA and they had me and Kiss, they booked me and Kiss for like this show. It was like where we had to like judge some up and coming artists and stuff. So I seen Kiss like going in a hotel and he seen me and he gave me a handshake like, man, free, fuck that shit. Come, let's smoke, come to my room, let's smoke and shit. So we chopped it up then. And like every time we went out LA, Jay always made sure that we had like a bunch of security and shit. So security wouldn't leave me. I'm like, bro, I'm trying to go holler at Kiss. He like, no, I can't leave you. I'm like, I ain't try to go to bro room with security so he could be clowning me. But it was all love though. Like, you know, when Kiss, Styles, and Sheik, I really look at them like my brothers. Like, you know what I'm saying? I really got genuine love for them. And I feel like it's vice versa, you know? So I'm glad we didn't kill each other because at one point it really could have happened.
Well, yeah, I just had Sheik on my show, and we were talking about how, like, during the height of that back and forth, when Rockefeller was at Hot 97, you know, doing all the freestyles, dissing him, you know, Jadakiss wanted to go grab his gun and go to Hot 97, like for real. Like like the other two dudes had to like stop him, be like, yo, it's not that serious.
Yeah.
But he was that upset over that situation, over getting dissed on, you know, in his hometown by you guys. Jadakiss said that when Rockefeller and them were on Hot 97 dissing him, he wanted to get his gun and go confront him at Hot 97.
No, that's how that, because they had him aggravated. Because like, so boom, so you cool with somebody that really ain't like spitting like that, saying whatever. All right, cool. And we never gonna see each other. It ain't gonna be nothing. But like somebody that's really lyrical, coming at you like that and saying some clever shit, and the other people think it's dope what they said, you like, fuck that. I'm going to smack this nigga. Right? It's crazy. So I hear him. I was there.
Yeah. I mean, it was a crazy situation. I'm happy he didn't do that because, you know, it was like, you know, it just like, alhamdulillah, like we got past it. I remember Beans and Kiss, we were somewhere out here in the park and they talked and squashed everything. I was out there with them and, you know, alhamdulillah, you know, it's a great thing.
Well, from what I understand, you can correct me if I'm wrong, when Beans got indicted over the whole attempted murder charge, that's when the beef basically ended because I guess the Locks didn't want to kick him when he was down and that type of situation. Is that right? Or
no, we actually went and met up with them. Like, see, you remember where that was at?
Some park. It was in the park somewhere.
Yeah, we was in a park out here. I don't know what part of New York it was, but we was out here in the park. And like we wanted to go meet him. And like Kiss, I know D from Rough Riders was there. Like they like situated the whole thing. And like Kiss and Mac actually went and talked together, you know, and then they squashed it. And that's when it was squashed.
Okay, I didn't even know that. That's dope.
Yeah.
Grown man shit.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, well, 2002 rolls around, and that's when Rock the Mic comes out, which is my favorite song you've ever done.
Thank you. Wait till you hear the stimulus package, too.
Okay.
I got some more favorites for you, brother.
Well, no, because I remember 2002, I moved to New York. That's when I basically became a full-time DJ. And I remember I moved to New York, and I started playing clubs in New York. And when I used to drop that song, the club would go crazy.
A little story for artists, like just to tell you to like make sure you always believe in yourself and never doubt yourself, never give up. We was in New Orleans. I never forget, it was me, Beans, and Chris. We had a show out there. And you know how they be having like the Make It or Break It's records? Like they played Rock the Mic and they broke it like nobody liked it. Like they was like, that shit wasn't nothing. And like I'm sitting in a limo listening to this shit like, damn, they don't even like the record. This the record we going with. Probably 2 weeks after that, we getting 5,000 spins a week. Like that quick. You know, so if you feel strong about something, go for it, man. Don't let nobody talk you out of it.
No, that beat is ridiculous. Like that when that beat comes in, it's like it just shut down the club. Like, I remember playing in China Club in New York and just dropping that shit, and like literally the dance floor would rush. Everyone would throw their hands up and scream, and it was like that. That was one of those records that really ran 2002. I feel
most definitely. And to this, when we play it to this day, they still get a crazy reaction.
Of course,
timeless music. It's a blessing.
Right, and that was on the State Property soundtrack.
Yeah, most definitely.
You had 4 songs on there.
Mm-hmm.
And that year was kind of crazy for you because on top of that, you were on the 8 Mile soundtrack.
Yeah.
With JayZ, 8 Miles and Running.
Mm-hmm.
So now you got another JayZ song.
I remember when Jay put me on that joint. I came to the studio. He's like, I got something for you. Come in here. And he put the beat on. And he's like, yeah, this for the 8 Mile soundtrack, for the Eminem soundtrack. He's like, put a verse on it. So I'm in there taking my time. Like, I'm like, oh shit. Like, I didn't know if Eminem was gonna be on the record. What? I just know what he told me. So I'm like, I gotta take my time on this joint. I'm in there probably working on it for like an hour. Then Jay come in the room like, what, you need some weed, man? What's wrong with you? Why you taking so long? And then I finished that joint up, got it done. He actually brought me some weed too, because he must have thought that I was slipping a little bit. But I actually wanted to take my time with it because I knew it was gonna be a special joint. And that was a blessing to be on that.
Oh yeah, I mean, Eminem was arguably the biggest artist in the world of any genre during that time with his debut movie. So you got the soundtrack, movie money on top of whatever music shit was going to come your way. I can imagine the pressure of doing some shit like that.
Yeah, definitely. He always, though, one thing about Big Homie, though, he always gave us a shot. Like, gave us a fair shot. Like, that was a fair shot for me to, take off. I remember, I told you my bro Chris in here with me from the Young Guns, and I remember when Jay put him on that nigga, please, you ain't got act like these with Pharrell. That was another solid joint. When he got on that joint, I'm like, yo, this joint gonna be out of here. So he always gave us a solid shot.
Well, yeah, because he also put you on the Mariah Carey joint, You Got Me.
Yeah, that was actually on my album.
He was on
too.
as well.
Yeah, that was on my album. So Jay was on my first album 2 times, and Mariah Carey. And it's the 20th anniversary of my album, Philadelphia Freeway, too. We having a big concert in Philadelphia, February 25th at the Fillmore. It's going to be crazy.
Right, because in 2003, you dropped your album, Philadelphia Freeway, which had JayZ, like you said. And, like, the feature list is just insane.
Yeah.
Insane. Snoop, Nate Dogg, Nelly, Faith Evans, and then of course Beanie, Petey Crack, Young Guns, and Amelia Sparks. Like, to have this much star power on your debut album as a brand new artist, how did that feel?
I couldn't even comprehend it at the time. I ain't even gonna hold you. Like, it probably sunk in like a couple months after it was out. Like, it was just happening so fast, and like, a lot of those features was like genuine relationships, like me chopping it up with Nelly and like, Snoop. We actually went to Snoop crib to the doghouse to record that joint. Like, I was in the studio with Nate Dogg. I remember he came in the studio and he had a fifth of Henny. Shout out to Bink Dog. He produced that joint, and the beat was playing, and Nate just leaned on the piano. He went back up on the fifth of Henny. Then he was like, ooh, ooh, ooh. Like, these are priceless memories that I got. Like, and it was happening so fast, I couldn't even comprehend. Like,
Yeah, rest in peace, Nate Dogg.
Rest in peace.
Honestly, that right there, I don't care who sings on a hip hop track. No one will ever do it as good as Nate Dogg. I feel that was the original hip hop singer. When the Chronic dropped, that set a blueprint that's still being carried to this day.
Yeah, most definitely. Rest in peace to Nate Dogg. God bless him.
Yeah. And then the big hit on that album was What We Do.
Yeah, most definitely.
Did you know that was going to be the hit?
I was pushing for it. Like, when I first said that I wanted it to be a single, everybody didn't agree because it didn't have the standard format of verse, hook, but I felt strongly about it. We pushed it, and that joint ring off to this day,
Right, featuring JayZ and Beanie. What's it like in the studio with JayZ? Because you always hear all the different stories about how he doesn't write anything down, but he kind of formulates the song in his head by the time he gets to the booth. Like what is it about the JayZ process in the studio that's just different from other artists?
The majority of us do that. It's probably more of us that do it than don't, and it's a dope process. I'll tell you about what we do. So when Jay was we was at Baseline Studios, he was in the front playing pool. So when I originally brought him in the room, I wanted him to just say the keep goings. That's something that I picked up from Big Homie. He would like always, every once in a while, he have enough like a different voice on the record just to make it a little doper. Like you might hear a chick come in and say a couple words just to make the song doper. And that's something that I picked up from him that I like. So I originally brought him in to just say the keep goings. So I'm like, Big Homie, I need you to say the keep going. So he's like, all right, I got you. So he listened to my verse, the shit was playing. He sat down, then he started mumbling to himself. I'm like, oh shit, he probably about to give me a verse. So he like mumbling to himself probably for like 10 minutes. Then he like, go, I'm going in. He go in the booth, one take. Hove never slacking, man, zipping in the black range faster than the red goes, getting ghosts on Pac-Man. One time, knew I got that knack to get down. I'm like, oh shit, it's going down. Like, so he was like, I'm gonna come back and finish it. Like, because I had a bunch of bars on my verse. So before he came back, Beans wound up coming to the studio. I'm like, I just did this joint with Big Homie. It's crazy. Come listen to it. So once I let him hear it, he like, I'm jumping on this joint. And he put his verse on there, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
And ain't nobody right. None of us, like, it was all, the process. We gonna call it The Process.
Right. And the other big song on that album was Flip Side, featuring Petey Crack.
Yeah. Man, Petey, that's like, that's my brother. Like, we had a rap group called Ice City, probably when early high school till we was like, young men, so our chemistry is crazy. Anytime we go on a record together, it's gonna be fire chemistry.
Well, the album was mostly produced by Just Blaze with some tracks by Bink and Kanye West did 2 songs.
Yes, sir, yeah.
And then you jumped on Kanye's album.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know that. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Ye, man. That's my bro. Like we clicked a lot. We vibed a lot. Like when he really took off in the beginning, like he would bring me to a lot of his shows, like Super Bowl stuff and all kinds of stuff. He would let me come rock with him.
Yeah, I mean, you did 2 Words with
yep.
Kanye and Mos Def.
Most definitely. And we got to perform that joint on Dave Chappelle's show too, which was dope, super dope.
I mean, when you look at what's going through with Kanye these days, you know, the $1 billion that he lost and you know, some of the stuff that he said, you know, about different religious groups and so forth. How do you feel?
Man, you know, I feel, you know, everybody go through stuff. Like, you know, my past from 2015 till the end of 2022, I've been going through with all kinds of things have been going on in my life, you know? So everybody go through things. Like, you know, it's just important to always put God first and just try your best to pull yourself out of it, surround yourself around people that care about you. And then there's always the fact that we really don't know what's going on. We just know what we see on the TV and what people put in social media, but we don't know what's really going on. Like, you know, so I wish him the best. That's my bro, you know, so I just wish him the best.
Well, the album initially went gold. Did it go platinum over time or?
No, it's close, but it didn't go platinum yet.
Okay. Eventually it'll go platinum.
I mean, it's the 20-year anniversary, so that's what we're pushing for,
yeah.
You know.
There we go. Well, and then right around that time, Dipset joined Rockefeller.
Yep, most definitely.
Cameron's album went through the fucking roof.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I had Jewels on my show recently, and I talked about sort of the tension between Cam and Jay, and the way he described it is that the two of them always had kind of a funny relationship. It was like not really beef, but the two of them weren't really comfortable with each other.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know, and I remember, like, for example, when I interviewed Petey, like, he talked about, you know, like some of the issues. Like, I guess Jay, well, I guess Cameron had a verse on One for Petey Crack, and then Jay ended up deleting it.
And then I think like he played it for Beanie. Beanie like pulled the CD out and broke it.
Yeah, I heard about that too. When I heard that, I was like, wow, too. Probably just like how you was. You know, I heard that. Like I never really experienced like Jay saying anything about Cam or Cam saying anything about Jay. Every time I was around, it was always good. You know, I did sense some tension, but you know, I never seen it with my own eyes, so I could speak on it. But you know, as far as when Dipset came to the Rock, it was super dope. Like Els, that's my man. Like I remember, like you know, always just like, damn, he really got his shit together. Like even back in the early Rockefeller days, like he had his own store in Harlem. Like you know, I would go down to Harlem with him and fuck with him, and he always was a dope MC. You know, so I got a lot of love for Els, Jim, and Cam. You know, and I know Cam always had like a lot of extra love for Petey too. So you know.
Give me 1 second to let this siren pass by. Okay. Well, by that next year, 2004, Rockefeller started to break up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, here you are, you know, your whole life has changed by being affiliated with this crew.
Yeah, most definitely.
And now they're starting to break up. People are starting to choose sides. Some people, you know, well, Beanie went with Dame. Petey Crack, I guess, was asked to go with Dame and ended up going with Jay instead. And then there was some friction over that and, you know, and so forth. Where did you fall in during that whole process?
I had a conversation with Jay, and, you know, he said that he was going to make sure that I was straight or whatever. And it just was a lot going on at the time. Like, you know, when the breakup actually happened, it took me like probably a couple months to like really wrap my brain around it, because it was like, it's devastating. It's like having everything just snatched away from you, or so I felt at the time, you know. But once I like really got my bearings and got myself together, I'm like, shit, they did the hard work already for me. I'm already a household name. I'm already famous. I can go anywhere, get $10,000 a show right now at this point. So that's what I did. I grinded. I put out a bunch of projects, independent projects, mixtapes, you know, which leads me to 2010 when I did the stimulus package with Jake One. That project, I did it with a label called Rhyme Sayers, and it was a unique project. Like the package, everything from the packaging to the music was unique, and it was amazing. And that project enabled me to tour all over the country, all over the world, like places I never even been with Rockefeller. Like I did my own tour overseas where I went to like Amsterdam, I went to Czech Republic. I was rocking festivals by myself. And that really helped me believe in myself and prove to myself that I can do it on my own. And that's what I did. And that's how I carried it prior to like 2017.
Well, when all that was happening, when the Rockefeller breakup was happening, was that around the time that Beanie went to jail?
Yeah, yep. Beans went to jail for a year and a day. So it was like right around the same time, matter of fact. Yeah, it was crazy. It was a lot of tension. Like it was just like, you know.
Right. So Beanie got convicted of attempted murder. He did a year. And was state
I don't even think
property-
that's what he did the year for. Like he got.
Oh, it's for something else.
Yeah, he got acquitted for that.
Got
He
it.
had another. I think it was like a gun charge or something that he did that for, but it wasn't an attempt murder.
Yeah, I was going to say attempted murder is a much longer stretch.
Yeah.
Okay, and was that around the time the state property kind of started to break apart a bit?
I mean, I can't say that we broke apart. Like we always was straight. Like people had little issues with each other, and that's further down. Like at that point, we just was trying to figure shit out. Like what are we gonna do? Like, you know what I'm saying? What are we gonna do next? Like, you know, so I don't feel like we broke up.
All right. Well, by 2007, that's when you decided to go to Mecca?
Yeah, I went to Mecca twice. I think I went, yeah, that might be, was it 2006, 2007? Yeah, that was my first time. As being Muslim, that's one of the 5 pillars of Islam. You know, if you can afford it, you're supposed to go visit Mecca at least one time in your life. And that's something that I always wanted to do, so it was definitely a blessing to do it. And I know that was earlier. Like the first time I went back in 2009, I think, but the first time I went was earlier.
Right.
Because like I remember coming back and like everything was still full steam ahead.
Okay, so you come back from that, and then you start working on your second album, Free
Mm-hmm.
at Last.
Yeah. You mixing the times up, but yeah, like something like that. Yeah.
Okay, I mean, right around the same time. I may be a little bit off. Well, that album, wasn't it supposed to come out with G Unit?
You funny as shit. Vlad funny as shit. Yeah. The album Free at Last, like me and 50, we had a good rapport. We had a great relationship. Like in the beginning, we would do a lot of shows together because our first albums dropped around the same time. I remember when he dropped and his shit went crazy, he did all them numbers. He hit me, we was chopping it up. He like, yeah, you about to go crazy too. I know you about to sell like 1 million just like I did and all that, but it ain't work out like that. But, you know, it's still all love. So once he got super in position, he like, Free, whatever I could do to help you with your shit, I'm going to do it, you know? So we came up with the idea of him and Jay executive producing the album together. So it would be like Rockefeller, G Unit, you know, together, and like niggas like, you gonna sell 1 million records the first week and the shit is gonna be crazy and all that, you know, and it didn't work out like that, but you know, alhamdulillah, you know, it was definitely an experience, and you know, definitely got a lot of love for 50, you know, for, you know, trying to be in my corner, you know, and it's, you know, it's dope.
Okay, because 50 showed up on the song Take It to the Top.
Yeah.
So he's on the album.
Yeah, he's on the album. He on the album. I had 50 on Take It to the Top. I had Jay on what's that joint? Rockefeller Billionaires.
Billionaires, yeah.
Yeah. It was a layup.
Right. So why didn't the G Unit thing work out from your point of view?
I mean, at the end, when it was time when it was time to turn the album in and everything was done, I had a conversation with Jay, and Jay was like, we're not going in that direction. We don't need that. And I was like, that's how you feel? Let's go. You know, and that's how it happened.
Okay, well, I know 50 a bit. You know, he doesn't take these types of news, you know, very well a lot of time. Was 50 upset after putting in the work and you know, expecting this to come out?
He definitely wanted it to happen, you know, like he definitely was disappointed about it, but you know, he like, man, it's whatever. Like, you know, he wished me the best. Like, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, sometimes shit work out, sometimes it don't work out. You know. I wasn't tripping. It was an amazing album. And I remember when the album came out, like I had chopped it up with Big Homie, and like the numbers wasn't as good as we expected to do, but it was a solid album. And he told me, he was like, Free, long as you continue to make good music and you make great albums, you're always gonna be able to make another album. And I've always been able to make another album. So, you know.
Well, that same album had Walk With Me, which had Jadakiss on the album.
Yep, Jadakiss.
On the song, I mean.
Yep.
So this is sort of like the full circle of from dissing Jadakiss to actually having a song with Jadakiss.
Yeah, no, I had a song with him before too. Jermaine Dupri had flew me to Atlanta to do the Hate in Your Blood. And that was like right after, like that's when things was like, Beans might still be a little mad at me for doing this joint. Like it was like things was almost cool, but like, you know what I'm saying? So we had that joint, like the Hate in Your Blood. I did the hook on that joint with JD and Jadakiss.
Okay, now the first album, Just Blaze did the majority of it, and Kanye was on it.
Yeah.
But this album didn't have either one of them on there.
Yeah.
And didn't you kind of address that, you know, on the album, some of the lyrics?
I did. And, you know, I took some advice from someone that told me to do that. And that really wasn't my intentions, but I did it anyway. You know what I'm saying? But I really didn't feel like that about neither one of them, because I know how it get when you get busy. And I wasn't like breaking my neck to reach out to them to get music from them. I just was like expecting people to just fall in line and follow my program. And it's not like that. Everybody got their own things going on, you know? So, you know, gangsters fuck up too, players fuck up too. It definitely wasn't a good decision to do that. But since then, you know, me and Just Blaze still have a great relationship. Me and Ye got a good relationship. And I'm pretty sure they understood because they know me and they know my heart, you know, so.
Well, by 2009, JayZ, he leaves Def Jam as president.
Yeah.
And that's when you leave Def Jam as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
We felt,
And then,
because I owe Def Jam probably like 8 albums or something. That's the, when you asked me about the deal earlier, that's the only thing that wasn't cool to me about the deal, because I owed them like 8 albums, you know, and it would have been cool if I was able to drop albums consistently, like, you know, but, you know, so I felt like Jay was leaving Def Jam, and me and my team felt like it would be good for us to get away from Def Jam and make a clean split, because we owed them all these albums, you know. That probably was like around 2008, around 2014, 15. I'm like, damn, did I really leave Def Jam? Why the fuck did I do that? You know what I'm saying? So, you know, like I'm saying, like, choices and decisions we make, you know, we gotta live with them Jones. But where I stand now, as you know, an independent artist and able to put out music and partner with people and put out music through whatever situation I want to, feels great.
well, yeah, after that, we talked about that already. You dropped the stimulus package with Jake One, which was a game changer for you.
Yeah, most definitely.
Well, in June of that year,
But I'm talking about like now, like even that, when I did the stimulus package, I did that with an independent company, you know, called Rhyme Sayers, and they own the music, you know what I'm saying? It still was like me signing to a label. Where I stand at now, wherever I put music out, I'm gonna own the music, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I mean, that's the difference, just so everybody could be clear.
well, right in the middle of that year in June, didn't you announce that you were actually signing with Cash Money?
I didn't announce that I was signing with Cash Money. What happened was I was fucking with Birdman, and you know, me and Wayne always had a good relationship. And I was in Miami. That's when I was actually working on the stimulus package. And Birdman is actually on the stimulus package. He jumped on one of the records on stimulus package. And, you know, we was having conversations back and forth about me coming to Cash Money. But, you know, it didn't really work out. And I don't think I was ready to make that move at the time, you know, because I still felt loyalty to Rockefeller. So, you know, I decided not to do it. But, you know, we still got a good relationship. Shout out to
next
Stunner,
year,
like, you know, because, you know, he always show a lot of love. Anytime I'm down there, he be like, you get the stew as long as you want. Like, you know, he always show a lot of love, man. Take my hat off to him.
I mean, yeah, you could argue that Cash Money is the greatest hip hop label of all time. I mean, there's a strong argument for that.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. And the way they still running to this day. Like, you know,
That's what I'm saying.
At a high level, you know. So.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Well, okay. Then next year, 2010, you and Beanie Sigel dropped the Rock Boys album.
Yeah. That album was like, we dropped the Rock Boys album, but we didn't like, that was like stuff that we put together, like, you know what I'm saying, for an independent situation. But we didn't actually like go in the studio and sit down and work on it. You know, it was just like stuff we pieced together.
Okay, because on that album, there's a song Average Cat where Beanie actually disses JayZ. Now, you're not on that song.
Yeah, I don't even know every song that was on that project because it was an independent project that was put together. But yeah, if you say so, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Was that a little awkward? Because you and Jay are still cool, and now you're on a project where Beanie's dissing Jay, and you know what I'm saying?
I mean, at the end of the day, like, you know, everybody know where I stand. Like, you know, like my family and the people that love me, like Beans, and they know where I stand. They know who I am. They know my heart. So, you know, that's what it is.
That's what it is. Well, and then at that point, you started really dropping more and more albums.
Yeah.
So you and Static Selector had the Static Free EP.
Yeah, shout out Static Selector. We did that Static Free EP. We actually did it live. It was streaming live, and we did 7 songs in 7 hours. Like, here, just pull a beat up. And that is show, if people get a chance to pull that back up, that'll show you the process that you was asking me about as far as writing without writing. Like, he would put a beat on, pull a beat up, I would sit there, zone out, come up with the song, record the song, then we go to the next song. Rest in peace, Mac Miller. Mac Miller came through, gave me a crazy classic PA song. We got a chance to perform that joint a couple times too live. It was a lot of dope features on that joint. shout out Tech from Smith & Wesson, Fame from MOP. Like, that joint was crazy, and we pulled it together, and we did it in 7 hours.
Yeah, and then that next year,
it was lit.
That next year you dropped a Diamond in the Rough.
Yeah.
And then in 2013, you and Jacka did Highway Robber.
Yeah, Highway Robbery. Rest in peace to my brother Jacka, man. And this is Jack History Month. You know, this the month where you know the tragedy happened to him. So we carry it as the whole month is Jack History Month. I got a lot of love for Jack, man. Like, I went out, I think I probably met him like in the early 2000s. I was out there touring, and he got a feature off me. And I got to like go to his hood and like see how they live, and like it's just like they were just like us, but on the West Coast. Like, there's Muslim, you know, they're struggling with the same struggles that we were struggling with. You know, we just clicked, man. Great brother with a great heart, man. Give you the shirt off his back.
Yeah, no, I fuck with Jacka. He was actually on my first documentary, Ghost Ride the Whip. And I got to hang out with him, smoke with him. I was at his house at certain points. When I heard the news that he got killed,
listen, bro,
it was fucked up. You know, with me being from the Bay on top of it, it really hit us hard because he was like really one of the sort of the foundations of
for sure
Bay Area gangster rap, really.
Yeah, he one of the main reasons why they love me in the Bay. Like, and that's my bro. Like, when I would go out, like the Bay, well, you from the Bay, so you know, but the people that's not from the Bay, you gotta understand the Bay is a whole different animal. It's like its own country. Like, you know, it's niggas in the Bay that's rich off music that you probably don't even know. Like, niggas riding Lambos, like, you doing their thing. Like, I remember it's this thing called Sound Exchange where we get paid, you know, for our music. And Jagger owned all his music, and I don't own all my music. So I remember we was together and we got a check around the same time. My check was like $20,000. His check was like $200 and something thousand. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing wrong? He like, I own my shit, nigga. I'm like, man, I gotta get with the program. Like, you know, and it's a lot of hustle and it's a lot of grit out that Bay Area, and I love it, man. You know, and like I would go out there and get with him and make $20,000 before I even get to the room. Like, he just take me around doing features and like, you know, like just a real genuine brother, man. Like, we got to tour the world together. We went to Africa, we went to Sweden, like Amsterdam, man, you know, and my last trip with him, we was in the UK. You know, we both Muslims, so we went over there and we did a lecture tour, and we were speaking on being Muslim and being in the music business, you know, just giving our point of view about it. And that's right before he dropped his last project that he dropped before he died. And like just his energy, and he was like listening to the music, and he finally like mastered what we do. Like what we was talking about, what I got from Jay. He like when I first started going out there, he would write and he'd be reading from his phone, and he was super dope. But when he mastered that shit, bro, I'm telling you, like the space that he sat in, he was just so comfortable. He like, yeah, Free, I got this shit. I mastered this shit. And the music was just so fucking amazing, man. And when we was out there, they just fucking loved him. Like, he was playing that shit for them niggas, and they was like going crazy. And like, when we be in the States, it'd be different because of Rockefeller. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody know me just from being with Rockefeller, and people, motherfuckers that know him know, but the motherfuckers that didn't know him didn't know. You know, so, but over there, it was like I was with him this time. Like, you know what I'm saying? That shit just felt great. And just the space that he was in, man, I would have loved to see him live more, man. I'm telling you, man, like, it's rough, man. Like, that really, like, his death affected me more than, like, niggas that I grew up with that died. That's how his heart is. Like,
he's a good dude, man. Nothing but good things to say about him.
Great dude. I pray that Allah have mercy on him and, you know, make sure that his grave is spacious and grant him the highest level of paradise, man. I pray for that a lot.
Well, 2015, you're 37 years old, and you get diagnosed with kidney failure.
Yeah.
When they first told you the news, did you understand the extent of what that meant, or did it take you a while to figure it out?
No, I understood. They explained it to me. Like, you know, it just was like a shock. Like, you know, I knew I knew something wasn't right because I was feeling like fatigued, like more tired than I normally would feel. And I went and did blood work. It was like right after the Made in America that year, I went and did blood work. And the doctor reached out to me probably like a couple days later, like, you need to get to the emergency room. Your electrolytes is out of whack. Your creatine level was through the roof. So I went to the masjid and I prayed and I asked Allah, like, just help me deal with the situation and just help me be able to stand whatever it is. And then when I got there, I was diagnosed with kidney failure. That was September 15th. The next day, they cut my chest open, they put a permacath in my chest, and I started doing dialysis. And that was in a hospital, so I'm like, okay. Then when I actually went to the dialysis unit and I walked in there and then I seen the rows of people getting dialysis, I'm like, wow, this is really my life now. Like, you know, it was like wow, like it's alhamdulillah that I had Islam, and you know, and I had understanding that God's not gonna put nothing on us that we can't handle, because it was a shocker. Like, I had to do that joint 3 times a week, 4 hours a day. Sometimes after dialysis, you don't even feel like doing nothing. Like, you just want to sleep. Sometimes when you're in dialysis, the process of dialysis, it cleans the fluids and the toxins out of your body. So they stick me with 2 needles. One is called the venous, one is called the arterial. The one needle pumps the blood out of your body and put it in the actual dialysis machine. And your blood goes through the machine and it filters and cleans all the fluids and the toxins out of your body. It does the job of your kidneys. And then the other needle pumps your blood back into your body. So that's a 4-hour process. Sometimes they might take too much fluid and then you'll be cramping. Like, it's a lot of things that can happen with that. You know, one day I was in there and somebody died right next to me. And like, going to dialysis is like a family, because you in there with them 3 times a week, 4 hours a day. So I gained like relationships with people there. Like, you know, and the day that I went, when somebody died next to me, it just happened to not be my day, because I think I had to travel or something like the day before. I never missed a dialysis treatment, but sometimes I might have had to do it a day earlier or a day later because of my schedule. So that time it was a day later. And when I got in there, the person that was sitting next to me was somebody that I didn't know. But he didn't even want to get put on dialysis. Once he got put on the machine, he started turning green. And then they like tried to put a partition up so I wouldn't see. But he right next to me. I seen the whole thing. He started turning green and he passed away. And I'm like, damn, that could be me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I compare it to the streets. Like, when you're in the streets and you see like you in a drug game, one of your homies might get shot or something happen. Like, you know what I'm saying? You like, damn, that could be me. We doing the same shit. That's how I felt. Like, man, that could be me, man, you know. And it definitely was a life changer. And I decided to stand in front of it. You know, I work with the National Kidney Foundation. I'm the celebrity ambassador for the National Kidney Foundation. I work with Gift of Life. And I, you know, try my best to spread awareness about kidney health, because I had 3 risk factors, one being hypertension, another one being diabetes, and surprisingly, just being African American is a risk factor. I had those risk factors. I had an uncle that had kidney failure, got a transplant, then had kidney failure again, had to go back on dialysis. I had a cousin that died from kidney issues. And it's something that affects a lot of us. And I was unaware that it could happen to me. So I try my best to spread the awareness and let people know, because it's something that can happen to me and it can happen to you. And it can be avoided by taking care of yourself and putting the right stuff in your body and taking the proper steps to make sure you doing the right thing.
Well, you had to wait 3 years for a new kidney.
4 years.
4 years.
4 years, yeah. And
I
I did a special procedure where they gave me a kidney with hepatitis C, and they cured the hepatitis C. And if I wouldn't have did that, who knows how long I would have been waiting. Like, you know, it's people wait on the transplant list 10, 15 years.
Wow. People
die on the transplant list waiting to get kidneys.
Yeah, I mean, Scarface went through the same thing a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Shout out to Face, that's my bro. Soon as he was diagnosed, I reached out to him and we was going back and forth. I was giving him the game. I remember when he was ready to get his transplant, he called me like, yeah, Free, I'm about to get the transplant. I'm like, yeah, bro, that's what's up. Like, shout out his son. His son actually gave him the kidney. You know, and,
Right.
You know, that's a blessing, man. We got a chance to visit Houston probably 6 or 7 months ago, and I got to see him after he got the kidney and everything, see his son and everything, and you know, I'm happy for him, man. You know, and you see it happen to him, it happened to me. It can happen to any of us. That's why it's important to have the knowledge.
Well, I remember when we first announced that you know Scarface needed a kidney, we had all these people. Like people were emailing me saying, "Hey, I'm a huge fan. I'll give him my kidney."
Yeah.
You know, it was there. Did you ever think, "Hey, can I use my celebrity to maybe have one of my fans donate a kidney instead of waiting these 4 years?"
Yeah, a lot of people said they would do that. They would give me a kidney. A bunch of people reached out and said they would give me a kidney, but you know, I'm just really not that type of person. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I got faith in Allah, and I felt like it was going to happen for me. Like if it got to the point where, okay, I'm about to die and I need a kidney and somebody wanted to give it to me, then maybe I might have did it. But like I'm just like, you know, and then it's a lot with that too. Like you gotta be able to, they gotta match you. Like they gotta be your certain blood type. They gotta be healthy enough to give you a kidney. Like to get a kidney, you have to be healthy enough to get a kidney. You gotta do the workup to get on the transplant list. Like it's a lot of things that go into that. You know, alhamdulillah, it's a lot of innovations and things that's happening now where they're doing like cross matching. Say you need a kidney and I need a kidney and I got somebody that match your kidney, and they could give you their kidney, and then somebody that matches my kidney could give me that kidney. So they're doing things like that, and you know they're coming up with a bunch of new innovative things that's going to assist people. But you know, at the time, it just seemed like it'll be rough that I ask somebody to give me a kidney.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know if you knew about this, but if you go to Iran, they actually have an established program where people will willingly give you their kidney for like $4,000.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that
Yeah.
at the time. But
Yeah,
now,
I mean, it's
now I'm on, like, now I got 3 or 4, you know what I mean, on standby in case I need it. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's
Okay.
ready to get cashed out. I'm not even going to have to go back on dialysis, God willing. You know,
Yeah,
but you know,
and
it's
Iran
like
is
everything.
basically
You gotta
like
learn. You gotta learn the game and
Yeah.
like learn what's going on. You know. So,
yeah, no, it's basically an established legal program in Iran
Yeah.
where, you know, that amount of money in Iran will change someone's life for
Yeah,
like
most
years.
definitely.
You see what I'm saying? So, you know, so they're willing to just give up their kidney for what to us is not a lot of money, but to
Yeah,
them it is a lot of money, and it kinda
and you can
works out.
live a healthy, successful life with one kidney. I have one kidney. You
Okay.
know, like Scarface's son gave him a kidney. He has one kidney, and he's living a healthy, you know, productive life.
Dope. Okay, so then 2018 rolls around, and you're backstage at a Beyonce concert in Philly, and you run into JayZ,
Mm-hmm.
and you were like, "Hey, listen, I need this. I'm ready. I want to do another project." And Jay was like, "All right, it's nothing. Let's get it done."
Something like that. Like, you know, it was more of a process than that. You know, it was as simple as that, but it was more of a process. Like, you know, when I did a couple independent albums with a certain independent label, I owed them another project. You know, with things going on to the point where I couldn't even do it at the time. You know, so you know, I always would stay in touch with Big Homie, let him hear music. When we was at the B-sides, I gave him some new music. Like, you know, anytime we get together, I would, like, you know, let him hear music, always let him know, you know, that I was interested. And, you know, the relationship and the love was always still there. So when I got to the point where I was free and clear and was able to do it, I'm like, Big Homie, I'm ready. Let's get it done. And he said, it's nothing. And then, you know, we started getting it done.
Right. So you signed a deal with Roc Nation,
Mm-hmm.
and you put out the Think Free album.
Yes, sir. Yep.
The song Blood Pressure had Lil Wayne on it,
Yes, sir. Yeah.
and Swagger on Mayo had Lil Uzi Vert
Lil Uzi, yep,
on it.
Yep. Yep. Shout out to both of them.
Yeah. Who has the theme song of Philly right now.
Yes, sir. Yep.
And during this time, you're still awaiting your kidney transplant.
Yeah, still on dialysis, like doing everything, BET Awards, like, you know, doing my own shows. I was blessed enough to go on a couple dates on the On the Run 2 tour. Shout out DJ Khaled, he was bringing me out. I had a couple cities, I think like 4 or 5 cities on that tour. And, you know, I was doing it on dialysis. I would have to go to the city, do dialysis, then do the show, or do the show, then do dialysis. You know, it was, you know, I had to, no matter where I'm at in the world, I got to do it 3 times a week, 4 hours a day. So I would have to set everything up before I actually go on the road to make sure the dialysis centers was able to take me and give me dialysis.
I mean, you got your kidney in 2019, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did it feel to finally get a new kidney and no longer have to go for 4 hours, 3 days a week into dialysis?
Listen, man, it's a blessing. Is a gift of life. Exactly what it was, man. You know, there's things that I wasn't able to do that I'm able to do. Like, you know, like I told you, I was just in Seattle finishing a stimulus package too. I wouldn't have been able to go nowhere for a week and work without having to go to dialysis and having to do that, you know. Soon as I got the kidney, like, food tasted amazing. Like, I didn't even remember how, like, you know, when you're on dialysis, it's like really a strain on your body, and like you don't have everything that you normally have. So as soon as I got the new kidney, I'm tasting all the herbs and spices and like everything. Like, it's just a blessing. And I actually got my kidney, was 22 at the time. I got my kidney from a 22-year-old young man that lost his life, you know, and his family, you know, was gracious enough to let me get the kidney through the Gift of Life program.
Yeah, I think there's like didn't they introduce a new program where you know, inmates in prison can get a reduced sentence if they agree to donate their organs and so forth? You heard about this?
No, I didn't hear nothing about that. But that would be dope though. Like a lot of people look at like being in an organ donation program. Like if I had that on my license and I get in an accident, they're gonna kill me and take all my organs. And it's not like that. Like, you know, it helped me. Like, you know, like is one of the reasons why I'm here today, because somebody was in the organ donation program. And the doctors are going to do their job and make sure that they try to save the person. Like if you're in a situation where like you got in an accident or something happened to you, they're not going to kill you to get your organs. They're going to do their best to make sure that you stay alive.
Yeah, I actually looked it up. It's actually a bill in Massachusetts where you can get up to a year reduced if you agree to be an organ donor. But you also hear horror stories. I mean, there's a story about this woman who went to DR to get a BBL for like crazy cheap. Mm-hmm. And when she woke up, her kidney was missing. Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be careful, especially going to them foreign countries and all that. You got to be careful, man, you know.
Yeah. Well, I remember one of our early interviews, this is, I think, before Vlad TV, you talked about how you had been buying up properties in Philly, you know, as you were kind of getting money and established. Was that something that you stuck with and continue to kind of build your real estate portfolio?
Yeah, I definitely got a few properties in the city. I didn't like go super crazy with it like everybody else, but I definitely got a few properties.
I mean, when you look at your career, right? I mean, hip hop is sort of an interesting place where the average hip hop career is like 5 years, let's say. You know what I mean? Where you get this 5-year run, the labels are behind you, all the promo and everything else like that. And then after those 5 years, you got to figure out what to do with the rest of your life. Because most times you're still a young man or a young woman by the time that 5 years expires. Yeah. So, you know, you, from all of our interactions, it seems like you've always been good. I've never really felt like you were struggling or made poor decisions with your money and, you know, or did things that would put you in a compromising position as you got older into your 40s and, you know, eventually into your 50s, 60s, and 70s. What do you think, in retrospect, was the reason why you were able to maintain all these years and not fall into the trap where you see a lot of, you know, other artists from your era have fallen into?
I mean, I just pay attention and, you know, I value things. You know, I understand the value of things, and I understand, like, you know, what you can get snatched away from you in the blink of an eye, you know, so... You know, I try to value my relationships. You know, I try to value my businesses. You know, I definitely value my income. And, you know, I just try to make smart decisions. You know, just being in the streets, you see somebody be on top 5-6 years and they didn't save their money, and now they had to spend all their money on lawyers, and now they reaching out to people that they used to do shit for and won't nobody do nothing for them. I seen that happen 1,000 times, and I'm like, that's not going to be me. So I always try my best, and I put God first with everything I do. Like, it's been times where things got tight. I never was to the point where, like, I had to sell anything or trade anything in or anything, but it's just important to just be on point and to pay attention and to maintain a wise brain, and try your best to make good decisions.
Well, Freeway, like I said in the beginning, you and I go back 17, 18 years when Vlad TV was hot in here DVD. When I would show up to a studio in New York with my camera, I'd be holding the camera myself.
It's crazy. It's crazy
doing
how,
interviews
like,
with you.
A lot of, like, people such as yourself, that was in a business that wasn't the actual artist, and even people like I see, like, there's imposition. Like, look at Sherry Bryan, for instance. She's the president of Roc Nation. When I first met her, she was an intern. Like, it's amazing just to see how, like, so many people that was around, like, actually outlast a lot of artists and are living more successful lives than a lot of the artists.
Well, yeah, I was a DJ. I was a mixtape DJ. That's how it started. But as time went on, I started to get older. I realized that, certain things are not sustainable. Like doing club gigs into my 30s and 40s and 50s was not sustainable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Me being in front of the camera all the time wasn't sustainable. I had to figure things out. I had to build a real business. And, for me, I never really chased the fame like that. I could be way more famous than I am right now. If I just put myself in front of the camera.
Famous, though. Everybody knows that. You're pretty famous.
Yeah, I wish I was less famous, honestly. But the fame I have is annoying sometimes. People taking pictures of you in the mall and posting in weird shit like that. But overall, man, I just want to say that you and I go back, and I've watched you through the ups and downs, and the way you've been able to maintain and put on, a strong face and never complain and deal with the tragedies that every life has, in its own way, man. And there's a lot of tragedies we didn't even talk about in this interview. But the fact that you're still here, you're still working, you look good, you look healthy.
Thank you, bro.
You know what I'm saying? You're still putting out dope music. You still have a lot of respect, by your peers. Really, man, I love to see it.
Thank you,
I love
bro.
to see it, man.
It's a testament to God, bro. Like, throughout my whole career, like, I try to maintain a relationship with God, through the ups and downs. Like, it's been times when my relationship with God's been stronger than it was, and there's times that my relationship with God been weaker. But, I always try to maintain a relationship with God and put God first.
Yeah, and, we've seen firsthand how things could go wrong very quickly. Me and A.R.A.B. had a real close relationship. I'd been putting on A.R.A.B. from the beginning.
Man. Free the bros, man. Free that, man. Ab, good dude with a good heart too. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Very much so. Very much so. I remember getting the call from Swizz. Was like, yo, I got this artist in Philly. I want you to, do an interview with him.
Ab always been pressure. Like, I remember, like, back when he was, like, with, like, after, like, the shit with Cassidy, like, when, and after the battle and everything, when I was, like, really checking him out, I'm like, damn, boy, really got some hitters with him, because A.R.A.B. and them niggas was going crazy back then. Like,
yeah,
he been sturdy. Been giving that bar work up for years.
Well, speaking of Cassidy, you guys had that battle back in the day.
Yeah.
But now, since our last interview, Cassidy is like a legitimate battle rapper now.
Yeah. We supposed to have a battle coming up with the URL. It was supposed to happen last year. Hopefully they get it together this year, but something that I, stick my neck in, just to get my lick back.
Okay, so you're saying that the official rematch between Cassidy and Freeway could potentially happen this year?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm not gonna say definitely, but the foundation already been put in. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's just about, like, making it happen.
Okay. Is it going to be a cappella or over a beat? Because remember, the whole beat thing was sort of a
Here you
one
go,
of the talking
dog.
points.
Here you go. It's gonna be however I want it to be. No, it's gonna be it's gonna be on the URL.
Okay.
So it's gonna be their format, the way that they conduct battles.
Right, which is a cappella.
Yeah, yeah,
Man, listen, the whole world is waiting for that.
yeah, for sure.
How would you rate Cassidy as a battle rapper? Based on what he's done so far up to this point.
He definitely a GOAT. He definitely one of the main draws in battle rap, and he definitely do his thing. He had a couple, performances that, that was, but for the most part,
Yeah. No, I love to see it. I love to see how people reinvent themselves,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, listen, bro, like you were saying about me, like this is 20 plus years later, and just to even be the fact that you talking about him and you to be in a conversation and to be relevant and to be feeding your family and to, be out here active is a blessing in itself. I take my hat off to him for that, but you still got to get it in.
Oh yeah, I mean, look at his whole history. I mean, from a car accident that almost killed him, to an attempted to an actual murder charge that he had to beat. You know what I'm saying? To all the beefs and everything else like that along the way, he's still standing and he's still doing his thing.
That's a testament. And coming from where we come from, man, it's like it's set up for us to fail. Like all them obstacles he had to overcome. All the obstacles I had to overcome, like, some of us get caught up in the midst of it, like AR Ab, free to bro. But, coming from where we come from, it's like it's set up for us to fail. That's why we got to try our best to elevate. That's why I do things like my foundation that I started, Freedom Thinkers Inc. and Freedom Thinkers Academy, which is music, health, education, and culture. Like I originally started it on the health side. Like I told you, I'm the celebrity ambassador for the National Kidney Foundation, and I work with Gift of Life. But we expanded it now. We're entering into the educational forefront, and we got some STEM force work development programs. We just had our first 7 students graduate our phlebotomy course. We partnered with another foundation in Philly called OIC, and they actually provided the building for the people to take the course and take the test. And, we took care of the tests and everything. And, we got 7 people that could have been in the streets of Philadelphia robbing and stealing that now has a certification and they could start feeding their family and taking care of themselves and earning money.
That's what it is, man. I love to see it. Freeway, always a pleasure when we link up, man.
Yeah,
Wish
sure,
you all the
bro.
best.
Definitely.
Until next time.
What's
Peace.
crazy? Before you say that, I'll be like looking like, damn, why the fuck do Boosie and them niggas be on here for 100 hours? But I see now, like, I'm like, damn, I'm gonna come back and chop it up with my nigga Vlad, man. Like, it's all love, though, bro. And make sure, my boy C get to come up, too.
Let's do it.
Yep.
We're gonna link it up.
All right,
We're
love.
gonna hook it up.
Love.
Until next time.
Yes, sir.
Peace.